Hello, and welcome to another horror review. I'm joined once again by Chris as we continue our journey along the Graboid Hole. Today we're discussing Tremors 5 Bloodlines. Burt, now a star in his own survivalist web series, is approached by the South African Wildlife Ministry about a new breed of graboid that has resurfaced. Released in 2015, the movie was made in a budget of $11 million and was released straight to DVD. Yeah, here we are, number 5, but we're turning along rightly, aren't we? Yeah, I was actually able to find some budgetary information because normally when they release the DVD, they keep all that quiet for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they have to be doing good because they keep making them. But then again, this one was, I think, the biggest gap between movies.
11 years.
11 years, yeah. So maybe it's not doing that good, but I mean, it's got like a rabid fan interest, and I can see why. I've been having a lot of fun reviewing these with you, and I mean, they have to be doing reasonably well. I mean, they did a TV show. Like, there's definitely interest by the studios.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'd be curious to see if it, how much money it made. Yeah, I don't know why they keep that quiet.
I think it's too. I think it's easier to track with the box office returns.
Yeah,
and I think what they want to show, because selling to retailers doesn't really count as sales,
right.
because they do bulk deals now. And what they want to actually say is, okay, here's how many customers buy. So, I think it's just the layers of distribution that it's just hard to, any big company flipping can't even track themselves. Never mind track multinational, multi-country, international bounds of various DVD retailers. Not to mention the online stuff. They just can't get a figure back.
You're probably right. My mind always goes to cynical. Like they do it intentionally to try to like keep the all the actors, budget requests down if they don't show how much profit they made. But it could just be something where it's just difficult to track because of all the different layers. It may not be as sinister as it was in my head.
Yeah, because they can't do that. Obviously, the box office returns, when a movie gets a cinema release, it's there. I just think with the physical media, like look at streaming. Streaming don't release their figures.
Yeah. That was one of the big issues.
They can't figure out how to, how much do they need to spend to maintain their current subscriber base and get new subscribers. I mean, they can't tie the two together because there's no direct correlation. Yes, there might be minutes watched, etc. But they still haven't figured out how to tie it directly, and they're almost flying blind. That's why you see it is a bit like a Wild West. Like there's like spectacular flops, and they get it so wrong. I mean, completely wrong compared to other things. And you think it would be easier?
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest issues during the strike, the writers and the actor strike, is trying to nail down with the streaming companies like how much they're actually making, and this way, like for residuals and things like that, like a traditional source of income for all the writers and actors. So I think that was a big issue. I'm not sure with the resolution of the strikes, if they were able to get that done, but I guess we'll see going forward.
I don't think it's something you really can, because at the end of the day, it's a license. It's licensing out. So a streaming company will license out a property to stream, so they pay a certain fee and what they get in return. And that's what I'm saying. It's the whole, how do they figure out what to pay out? To maintain their current subscriber base so they don't lose them.
Right.
And then to gather more. And that's, they haven't figured it out themselves.
Yeah.
But the only thing with the studios is they pay it, the streaming company pays them for the product to appear on their platform for X number of months or whatever the deal is.
Yeah.
That's really the end of it. How much it streams is nothing then to do with the studio.
Yeah,
if they even rent it out and don't show it,
yeah,
I mean, they're paying a company money to have it on their platform for a set period of time. It's bloody tricky.
Yeah, but the studios have to know like how many times people clicked on it. How like they have to
know
have
down to the millisecond.
Yeah, I feel like that information should be available, but I could also see why it's proprietary, why they wouldn't want it released. So I see both sides.
Well, when things aren't doing well, and they want to argue, it upsets the spin because nobody can. Well, actually today, modern era people do argue against facts.
Yes.
Something's actually down there in front of your face going, right, well, guess what? Everyone watched 20 minutes into the first episode and dropped off like a cliff.
Right.
You can say that wasn't popular.
Yeah.
Or
That's
they're like, as soon as the thing drops, they're watching it and they're rewatching it. You can tell something's popular.
right.
They can tell us that, but they just don't. But once again, that doesn't relate to the studios unless they're actually pay per click, which I don't see a studio going into that sort of deal.
Well, I mean, Amazon Prime does that a lot.
Well, it
Like,
doesn't. Any authors, for example, it's pay per person that buys a book. You get a, and you have to kind of trust them that they're honest with
yeah,
with
for sure.
crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't make any money unless you're selling hundreds of thousands of books.
Right.
Nobody, you know what I mean? You're not making any money from it. So
Yeah.
no studio is going to pump millions into a movie. You know what I mean? 11 million for us. You're not going to pump 11 million in that. And then say, oh, well, you can put it in your platform, and yeah, sure, we'll only get paid if we, get clicks on it on a 10% basis. It's not a viable business model.
Yeah. But they have to be making money on it because they keep making them and there's interest in it. So I hope it's
Oh yeah,
doing
without a doubt.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah. I hope it's doing well.
And the fact that we're revisiting these after such a long time and still, almost with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
And still able to enjoy it, and it doesn't feel dated.
No, especially this one. I thought
this is definitely modern.
yeah.
They've definitely upped the standards in the camera work, and they've even tidied up the CGI a good bit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What a difference. It felt like watching a modern movie, like the film quality itself, like the camera work, like everything. It's and it's odd because we're watching them in order, so it's even more jarring to us to see the difference between Tremors 4 and Tremors 5, just in terms of like the production value and stuff like that. Not that this necessarily was a better movie, and we could go into the the reason.
Oh yeah, because I have issues.
Yeah, me too. But as far as the quality of the film and the camera work and everything like that, and the CGI especially, it definitely was
It's a fantastic looking movie.
Yes.
It still managed to be exciting. Like you'd think as well that you wouldn't be excited anymore. When you get, you know what I mean? It still managed to be exciting, and that's testament of at least decent storytelling.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like each movie has made enough changes to it to kind of differentiate it between the prior movies. So this one felt fresh, not just because it was updated and more modern, but even in the storytelling, it didn't exactly feel like a retread. Like it had a different, feel to it. So
yeah, I've noticed that I think from the series so far that it hasn't felt like just they've turned out another one.
Right.
Which has surprised me greatly, considering the nature of this franchise. That's actually been one of the greatest surprises of, they're actually putting a bit of effort in the storytelling and keeping it together, and you're getting something new each time. Brilliant. I really do applaud that.
Exactly.
So significant change with this is Stampede Entertainment. They have been the production company involved with the Tremors series. So obviously something happened in that 11-year period. This is a story as old as time, as long as movie franchises have existed.
Yeah.
That they're banned out, they don't want to work together. Somebody wants all the pie, not just a piece of it, and they're blah blah blah. And we've seen movies get deliberately destroyed over shenanigans in the background.
Right. I think in this case, it probably was for the best for the franchise to kind of have a different, only because it had already been 4 of them, and so even I feel like a different look at it, a different production company added some value, at this point, just to keep it fresh.
Well, Universal's always been involved as well, but they've just ended their partnership with Stampede Entertainment.
Right, but the new production.
So it's always been a Universal product, but this time it's a 100% Universal product.
Yeah, I looked it up. I think that was actually the reason Stampede had kind of bowed out, is that Universal wanted more creative control, and they didn't want to go along with that, which you know, is good and bad. Stampede did some wonderful stuff with the first, 4 movies, but I do
Yeah,
feel like it
you
was
got
time
four
for
movies, that have done well and still being talked about today. That's no mean accomplishment.
yeah, yeah, for sure,
So
for
it'll
sure.
be interesting to see how these last three, work out under the new guys. Like I said, some issues, but this started off. It actually started off being really good. We're getting just a continuation of what happens. We're not just getting dropped in somewhere. Things are going to a logical conclusion. We're seeing the advent of modern technology just being brought in as well.
Yeah, I mean the CGI was night and day from the prior ones.
But even in the storytelling,
Oh, yeah,
we're seeing now the internet. Do you remember web series like before? Remember, I was like that
yeah,
was a new thing, and people didn't quite know what to do with them. Now we just do it all the time. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's a bloody podcaster now.
yeah. I love that beginning where the survivalists with Burt Gummer. I would watch that series. I thought that was pretty.
If he did it, honestly, if he did like spin off, there's so much scope here to do like a comedy skit. Little segments in between this. Just for
Yeah,
that character. Bloody hell, at age though, like you can tell it's been 11 years.
yeah. But I
I
love
just
that.
can't.
I love that beginning. That'd be great seeing him, cook snakes in the woods
I was
and selling
stamping in the.
his cactus juice. That was awesome.
That was yeah. So obviously he's done his rounds. I mean, he's been all over the world dealing with the graboids. Obviously, they have been dealt with as far as we're aware. Whatever's happened, so this is what he's doing now. Um, Once again, it's the same as Earl in the second one. Not super rich, not living in a mansion, but still has that freedom to do what he wants.
Yeah. That got me thinking, like, where is his income coming from to keep buying all the weapons and to keep up to date with protecting the town and everything like that. He must be getting some money from
The
various.
silver mine,
Yeah,
the silver mine must still go.
my
You know what I
baby.
mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But
Family
then
name.
again, he's obviously performed. They kept it kind of ambiguous. I don't think they wanted to spell it out because they didn't want to ruin the mistake of the character. If that makes sense.
Right.
But he isn't a bum.
No, no, not by any means.
The
Yeah.
same as Val and Earl in the first one. They aren't bums. They're just working blokes that perform actually a vital function. They do the jobs that other people can't. They fill in the gaps. They make themselves useful. So this idea, he's embraced the modern world. He's using his celebrity. I mean, he's not doing anything bad,
Yeah.
ripping people off. He's just creating products those that are interested. He obviously has a following. It was an interesting though the exchange with the God, what'd you call him? Not Eric.
With Travis or
Travis, yes. The introduction of Travis was a bit awkward. I
yeah,
didn't quite get that conversation with the camera operator, and I see
yeah.
Travis coming in the bike and doing all the flips and spins, and
It was an odd way to introduce a character that's seemingly going to be very important in the franchise going forward.
but it's not the first time they've done this. This is the third time they've inserted the sidekick. They did it in part two with Annoying Bloke. It was just a really awkward insert. They did it in Return to Perfection.
Right.
No, he was a bit better, wasn't he? He had sort of moved in doing the tour guides, but once again, they're trying to recreate the Val and Earl thing.
Alan Earl. Yeah, from the
That's
first one.
that's where I see this franchise kind of tripping over itself. Is they're trying to recreate that initial buddy comedy thing.
Right. And that part never worked except for the first one, I thought.
Yeah,
Maybe a little bit in the second one, Because Burt was there along with was it Earl in the second one? Burt and Earl.
Yeah, well, Burt came in later, but it was that guy they introduced. I forget his name now, but the
Yeah,
annoying one who actually turned out okay.
yeah. But
Um,
that's the one element that they've never been able to recreate except for the first one.
yeah,
But
and
at least, yeah,
they keep trying.
they do keep trying. But at least with this now with Travis, it's going to be a different approach. Instead of like buddy buddy, it's going to be, father son approach hopefully going forward. I'd like to see Travis back. I haven't seen the sixth one, so I don't know.
I think it's it looks like it's him in the background, because if they get rid of Travis and introduce a new character, I'm going to start noping out of this.
Yeah, that would be awful, especially because they introduced Travis. They explained the relationship so late in the movie.
Yeah,
Then you're just wasting it as like a quick reveal, and then nothing comes of it. Yeah,
yeah. So I hope they do. That's going to be the dynamic duo sort of walking forward, because that would make sense. Sort of father and son, and
yeah, that
moving
actually.
forward team passing the torch. You know what I mean? The typical, the traditional hero's journey.
Yeah,
You've got the hero, then passing the torch. Son carries on.
yeah.
Michael
Like
Gross makes a few cameos now and again.
like in the end scene with the monster hunters. I mean, I could watch a whole movie of that. Did you see that during the credits? There was the end scene.
Oh shit! No.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit!
That's all right.
I didn't realize I had one.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just hit the stop button when the.
Yeah, because none of the previous ones did, so I don't blame you. But basically, all it was is that, like, about maybe 3 minutes into the credits, they start showing like it's like a docu-series again, but this time it's father and son. It's Burt and Travis, and they're monster hunters, and it's a camera crew following them going into people's houses, and it was almost like an advertisement for like the Ghostbusters. If you hear something bumping in the night, call us.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it's gone from them being graboid hunters to any kind of monster.
And then the whole series can expand.
Yeah.
I like that.
It was fun.
I like Travis as a character.
Yeah, it was good the way he was revealed, because if they had made him like a tough guy just like Burt, it would have been way too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So they made him like different enough, the way he looks, the way he acts. It was just different enough that the reveal was surprising, at least for me. I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, so I was starting to get the hint, sort of third act towards the end, when he was starting to ask him certain questions and this and that, and
with the Florida thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, aha, right, okay.
Yeah. But up until then, I was
no idea at all. He's just another character.
Yeah.
But then we get Eric Van Wyck arriving, saying he has problems with arse blasters. I can't do a South African accent. But who didn't know he was the bad guy?
Oh my gosh. I think anytime you see a white guy in South Africa, a South African white guy, movies are always going to make him a bad guy, especially anything made after the year 2000. It just seems like that's like a stereotype. They have to be bad. If they're in Africa and they're white, they have to be bad. It just seems like that's how they do it.
Like no nuances of characters and human. And another issue I have is the way Americans portray Africa. Everyone's still in villages throwing spears. You're like, fuck off. Do you know who one of the world's best innovators are today?
Who's that?
Kenyans. See, in terms of hydroponics and actually using solar energy.
Makes sense.
They will have a farm in a fucking ISO container in the middle of a village, and they will have crops growing.
Wow.
Right. You know what I mean? And I'm just sick, and it's, once again, American media, just this, the need, they even did it with, what was that stupid Marvel movie?
Oh, Black Panther?
Yeah. So, yeah, they're super technology, but they still throw spears. You're like, let it go. Let it fucking go. It would like same we still ride around on horses and chainmail and armor. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, you don't?
Funny enough,
Ah,
only on weekends, for fun.
my dreams are just crushed. Why would you do that to me?
It's still legal to shoot a Welshman on a Wednesday in the town square of Cardiff with a longbow.
Oh, let me write that down.
Look up any sort of web series and testing obscure UK laws or some bugger stuff. It's still legal and illegal.
That's hilarious.
Like if you shake out a dirty rug in front of the palace, that's a hanging offence.
Wow.
It's still, it's still in law. They never changed it.
They forgot about it. It's still there. That's crazy.
Just fun time. But it just annoys me, and the whole thing devolved in the third act with us, which bugged the shit out of me because we're just seeing, when we came to South Africa, we're just seeing normal people.
Yeah.
And here's a character who was an absolute waste. It was Dr. Nandi.
Yeah, that one was strange. I thought I liked her character when it was like the mother protecting the daughter. And so, I did like certain aspects of it, because it was something we hadn't really seen in the franchise so far. But then that whole love triangle, which didn't even, have a payoff at the end. We didn't even.
No, because he just went to Travis. See ya, safe trip home.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a thing. It was like, and this is where I'm thinking: did Stampede Entertainment, were these the elements that Universal wanted to put in that they were fighting against?
Could be
the usual boring Hollywood-esque, factory. Let's run off the factory. We need a love triangle. We need Africans to throw spears. We need blah, blah, off the factory belt.
Well, this goes with your theory too, because this movie came out in 2015, and in 2012, 3 years earlier, was The Hunger Games with your favorite Jennifer Lawrence.
That's right.
So maybe the studio said we have to insert some sort of a girl boss that kicks ass in this one, and that's how her character came to be.
Even though we've had 4 girl bosses, every one of these has had competent, engaging,
professional
lady characters.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean the obvious one. I mean, all the ladies must have been fantastic.
Yeah.
All different levels. No one's felt demeaned. We have not went, don't root for them. Rhonda, the first one, brilliant.
Yeah.
And she didn't step out. She was a geologist. So she wasn't going to become a back-flipping, spinny, kicky, machine gun toting, warrior.
Right.
That was Heather's job.
Yeah.
So we had Heather for that. We had Rhonda to be the expert and explain. She didn't demean because, we've obviously, check our previous episodes, folks. We've already talked about that's at great length and had a lot of fun doing it. Nowhere along this franchise did it need to be fixed.
Right. Right. But I bet the studios felt they had to up it to another level. Not only is it a competent professional woman, but she, shoots bows and arrows. And
yes, after giving her machine gun away to Burt.
Yeah.
That she had.
Yeah. Yeah. And the love triangle part wasn't.
And that's what I'm talking about. Africa's only 5 bows and arrows. So she gives a machine gun because she's. And here's the thing as well. Here's the thing that really fucking bugs me. What was the purpose of that lighted arrow?
Oh, to ignite the car that's already on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. It's not like it's an explosive arrow that's gonna. It's already on fire.
Or the drenched that it's already. And do you know what actually would have been better? Because him throwing because if you don't deal with petrol, you slosh it. It's not actually petrol ignites; it's the petrol fumes. So if you slosh a load of petrol about an open air, guess what? It dissipates and it's no use.
Huh.
I'll not talk about my childhood. Why we know things like that. But So him sloshing it all around the thing. If he had the rag out of the Jeep, and then she had the flaming arrow to hit that one spot, that would have made sense.
Right.
That would have given it, but just to have her going round in an arrow and a tank top going on go bongo, me fire arrows,
Yeah,
completely destroying her character anyway because of American stereotypes.
it's fair.
That really annoyed me.
That's fair. And then I felt bad for the guy who's like risked his life. He admitted to that he's been pining after this girl for years, and that he was jealous of this guy Travis who came in, and he spends the whole movie protecting her daughter, risking his life, almost getting killed like 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
Then at the end of the movie, he gets one dance with her. What are we doing? He deserved a little more than half a dance. The whole love triangle was a waste of a story.
That was a pointless. And if that's what is going to carry on, I'm going to lose interest. I'm going to be really disappointed because this is stuff that this franchise is not needed.
Yeah.
And this is, for a start, we don't take moral lessons from Hollywood.
Yeah.
They are deviant scum. They're the last people to be given moral guidance at anything. They're projecting their own guilt on the rest of the populace because they are deviant scum.
Yeah.
And the sooner Hollywood dies, the better. But you can see why it took 11. This is pure ego, I think, on behalf of Universal. Because this was taken along quite well. Stampede, we've seen, have kept a certain feel to these movies of togetherness and people coming together through adversity and community.
Yeah.
I felt it was missing in this one.
Oh, absolutely. I think we've talked about in the previous movies that the town of Perfection, Nevada, and also the town folk were an important character in the movie itself. And I get the idea that they don't want to just keep retreading. They want to go to a different locale, and it was exciting, to go to a different place and have different, more evolved, graboids. But it definitely, that lack of community felt missing. And I felt like this movie lost the heart of some of the previous movies.
But they went to Mexico in part 2.
Yeah.
And they still managed to maintain that level of community, with the folks there.
Right. Yeah. And plus Burt came to help out Earl, so that you still had that.
Yeah, you still had that. Here we have been through this. Here we're coming to help each other out. So they'd already done this in Mexico in the first sequel.
Yeah.
So this isn't a new thing.
Yeah.
One of them going somewhere else, and sure, we see Burt in Argentina in the third one.
Right.
He starts off before going back to Perfection, so we'll see he's globe dropping anyway. So it's not a new concept. So what have they lost?
Yeah, and it's especially coming after Tremors 4, where we saw like the birth of that town and the origination of the townsfolk and how critical they were to creating that Perfection, Nevada. And so it was just so disappointing coming off of that one where you had that real sense of community to now jump into this where he doesn't even like mention any of the people, like just a little story beat here or there where he's on the phone with them or someone from the town tries to come help him. Just some acknowledgement of the prior movies would have been nice as far as
simple, the graboid detectors on the blink again. Oh yeah, you need to hit this button, that button. There's your tenuous link.
It doesn't take much. It just gives you those connection threads. The only reference that they made to the prior movies outside of the actual combat scenarios and the evolution of the creatures, but the only reference that I did really like was when he mentions Heather when he thinks he's gonna die in the cage, and he says to give the gun a good home, and he's like, I'm gonna miss it, and in some way something like that.
He's basically trying to say he misses, he's got over her, but he hasn't.
Yeah, I love that, but they needed way more than just that one line. Yeah, they needed more of that.
Yeah, because that was a comedy, the whole thing in the cage. was comedy. It wasn't really serious or any gravitas to it, and
Yeah.
that was kind of, I don't know.
It didn't work for me, right? The cage thing, it was so weird the way they did that. And I felt like this director doesn't really get comedy as well as the previous ones did. Or I don't know if it's the
Mhm.
writing or the director, but like this director's like
Well, when you're
approach.
going to these sort of studios now we're getting movies by committee.
Yeah, yeah,
Before, when they were just a major backer and distribution, you had, now we're seeing Stampede Entertainment had the vision,
right.
and they had where they wanted the franchise to be, and they wanted where it didn't want to stray from. Now we're getting this. Oh, this is currently trending at the moment. Throw that in. Oh, this will be funny. Throw that in.
Yeah,
And it's showing. It's showing a bit now.
yeah. They thought like their best attempt at comedy was to throw in a lot of pissing jokes. Did you notice how much urine was in this movie? The lion pisses on Burt. Bert's pissing. He's drinking his own piss to survive.
Mhm.
I mean, it was just constant throughout the movie. I was like, is that what we're doing now?
Going, yeah, and the thing is that this movie's never needed that.
No, they've been organically funny. This felt forced funny.
Back to what and I sound like a bit of a preacher, but characterization.
Yeah,
If you have characters, everything else falls into place.
yeah,
If you have actual legit characters with that are 3D, fully formed, flaws and weaknesses as well as strengths, and there's a dynamic there between them, everything else sort of works. You can forgive CGI, you can forgive locations, you can forgive a lot of things when you've
yeah.
got that. When you lose that, then you start getting more critical. Have you noticed that, like, the main thing is, I don't know what you think, but I'm not feeling like the whole bunch of new cast.
No,
I'm
is this
not
going to
feeling
be?
anything for.
Yeah, is this going to be like the cast going forward? You think? I hope
I don't
not.
think it'll be the South African cast. I think obviously Travis will go somewhere else. But
Yeah,
I'm not feeling anything for the characters.
no.
And
Would
when
you
you
think?
don't feel that, then you start looking at other things.
Yeah, I'm glad. I thought was it Basson, the Basson, Basson, the guy who was he was like over the top tough guy. He was talking tough to Travis. He was the one that ended up getting smushed by the ass blaster. I thought he was gonna be like a regular character because he just had that. He was so over the top. I was like, oh, they're probably gonna keep him at least until the very end of the movie because he's
He
like,
served no purpose.
oh my gosh, he was terrible. He was terrible. But I thought that was the kind of character that like, oh, we'll keep him in for comedic relief.
But then you had Den. Den was brilliant.
Den was great. Yes,
So
Den
there's a
Reavers.
there's a character. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? There's a character. Been there, done that, loves life, looks feeble, still an old goat, but he's hard to put down.
yeah.
There, I'm glad he survived when he got it. You know what I mean?
Oh, and that was to me that was the only legitimately funny part in the whole movie was how excited Burt got when Den survived being eaten, and then they had like this bonding thing because they
Yeah,
both were.
we've both been there.
And then he spits on his hand, and Burt his eyes lit up. He was more excited about that than he was about Travis.
Yeah, but that's characters characters bonding.
Yeah,
You feel something. When that translates across the screen, you then feel something, and then you become invested.
yeah,
But those moments, I think, were too few.
yeah. That Basson character, he was like super tough, over the top, and then all of a sudden when he
Super
gets
aggressive for no reason.
yeah, overly aggressive.
Hostile.
Yeah. And then when he gets attacked, he turns into like this like yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's like, "You're like Rambo," he says to Burt. And then I'm like, "Okay, that is, funny how he changed that quickly." But then as soon as he gets back into town, automatically he's back to being this tough guy, acting the maggot again, like, you know, like nothing ever happened. It's just it was so strange how it flipped so quickly, you
But
know.
that's just bad. You know, once again, that's bad writing.
Yeah, he didn't feel like a believable human being. Yeah,
But we haven't had this problem
yeah,
up until this point. Like, we're 5 movies in, and this is the first we're seeing this problem.
yeah,
And it's really jarring.
yeah.
And plus, we're doing 2 weeks, not 11 years between episodes,
It's even
between
more
movies.
noticeable for
So
us.
we've still got all like the previous history. And this is so tonally. That's why even before we went live, I'm like, what do you think? You know, did you notice the tone change?
Yeah,
It's so obvious. And this is how a franchise gets killed.
yeah. It's not to say that I didn't enjoy it. I mean, it definitely. I thought the action parts were actually better than some of the previous
Oh yeah,
movies.
like once again, we said it's visually stunning. It's actually well put together, and it's
Yeah,
tight and it's fast paced. Apart from the
yeah,
third act,
yeah. And Burt is you know still enjoyable because he is still Burt. You know,
mm-hmm.
they didn't change him. You know, thankfully. But it's all those other elements that the previous ones had that were missing in this.
But they're
Um,
starting to do now. Oh, you're an old man, and it's like, all right, to get ready to try and phase him out,
yeah,
and you're
it's
like,
telling, right?
yeah, and you're like, oh, yeah, do you want to get the hammer to beat us over the head with that you're getting ready to phase the actor out, you
Yeah,
bastards.
yeah. Speaking of being beaten over the head, they didn't wait long into this movie to just totally rip apart my theories. Did you notice that? Like within like the first 5 minutes, he gives like Burt gives like a summary and during his when he's the survivalist show, where
Mm-hmm.
he goes through the life cycle of the of the graboids and how the ass blasters you know drop the eggs off, which turn into graboids. So my theories had been that that was like a recent change in evolution, you know, caused by them coming to the surface. And
No, what you'd said was the speed in which it happened.
yeah, but I
So
also thought they were the evolution, they were changing, evolving so quickly. And then in this movie, they're making it seem like with Africa, the African tribe even had a name for them, the lightning birds, and that they had
mhm.
been around for thousands of years. So they
Oh,
totally
so the bit about the
crapped
ass
a lot of
blasters themselves, yep.
yeah.
But your theory still holds in the rate because them bursting out of the graboid doesn't make sense.
That part's still true, right? Yeah.
So I could still hold with that bit. I'll stick with that bit. You know that it happened too quickly. We could do
Yeah.
that. Could you
Yeah.
think that there would be like a live birth rather than just bursting out? Because that's an absolute
It
waste.
doesn't seem to make sense, like, you know, biologically to kill the mothers like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And leave them unprotected. But that definitely, we're shooting down my theory, which hurt a little bit. Well, a wiser man would give up and say, you know what, maybe I'll hold back on theories, but I don't have that problem. So this is my latest theory that I have.
So is this another theory?
Yes, it is.
It's another theory. It's a theory. It's a Chris. It's a theory. Chrissy Chris. Chrissy Chris. Chris's crazy theory.
I
Let
love
on us.
it. So I started thinking, why was this movie set in the cradle of humankind? And, you know, where do the graboids actually come from? You know, the cradle of humankind is supposedly where, you know, humanity first began. That's where, you know, primates, you know, the human primates are found. And it started thinking, why of all of Africa did they set it specifically here? And I think what they're trying to tell us is that the graboids also started here, and that's why they show you know paintings on the wall from you know cavemen thousands of years ago. And so I was thinking maybe the graboids aren't the same from the same evolutionary tree as the rest of us. You know, maybe they actually, because I mean, if you think about it, they're very different in the way they evolve. There's no other creature on Earth that could use chemicals to create a combustible to become an ass blaster or a lightning bird. So their intelligence, they're second only to humanity. And humanity, of all the millions of species that have been on Earth, humanity is the only one that has the same level of intelligence as these creatures. So what if they're actually not from Earth, but they came from another planet? And I have some very expensive, well thought up graphs to demonstrate my theory. What planet nearby has a lot of dirt and has proven to have seismic activity underground? That would be Mars. And Mars plus meteorites, where the organisms of the graboids travel to Earth, equals graboids. This theory has a 99.8% margin of error for accuracy. That is my theory, that the graboids are Martians.
So this is the first Mars attacks then before Mars attacks happened?
Yes, exactly. And I think that's where the series has to go next. It has to go to the source, and Burt Gummer has to be cryogenically frozen so we can get him to Mars, and we can discover where the graboids came from.
There you go. Graboids in space coming soon. And there you go, folks. There's another Chris's crazy theory. It's a theory. It's a Chris. It's a theory. Crazy Chris. Crazy Chris. Chris's crazy theory. Fun times. I think yeah, we're gonna have to have Tremors in space. I don't know, I haven't heard any news. I'll have to start keeping out now for articles if they're planning to carry on.
Yeah. I'm curious where it goes from here, because there was a 6th and a 7th, right?
7th, yeah, there's Shrieker Island was the latest one.
Okay.
So that's the 7th movie. So we've 2 more movies to do and a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be fun to go back to that.
Which I've managed to find, so that's on the watch list.
Oh, nice. Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, we're just seeing with this the change. I don't know what they could have done to fix this a bit, bring it back. Because if we go down this direction, we're going to lose. We're going to lose it.
Yeah, they have to find a way to recapture the heart of the previous movies, and it doesn't necessarily have to be located in perfection. Although the town really was a vital character in these, but they have to find other characters besides Burt that you actually care about as an audience. Travis, I thought of all the characters in this movie, I thought he came the closest to it. And I am actually curious where that relationship goes in the next one.
Yep.
But you need more than just the two of them. You need a community of people, or just bring back some of the people from the town and make them part of the,
part of the team.
Yeah.
Because it was going to be just Burt turning up and it's just completely new people all the time. We've already seen it. This is the first, like I said, I think because it's 5 movies in, now we're starting to go, oh, don't like that.
Yeah.
If they'd done this like a second, third one, would have been out.
Yeah.
But this is where it starts to decline and they need to be careful.
Yeah.
And I'm so because I can't remember the name of the guy from the third one. Obviously, they didn't get him back.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm kind of glad. The annoying sidekick in
the tour guide one.
Oh, the tour guide one. He was better. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, they didn't bring him back.
Yeah.
Jay Reason, because it would have made sense for him to travel with Burt.
Right.
Sort of be part of the team.
Right.
I
always like that continuity between movies. I like when they bring characters through, because then it doesn't just feel like, oh, this is a brand new movie with different people every time.
Yeah,
I like when there's some carry through. There was one fun fact I saw.
One that was Scream. Apparently, I'm not a fan of Scream. I did an article there about it.
Yeah.
2 of the actors aren't coming back on this iteration, which it's completely different from the first. Like the first movies, like there's no continuity now. At some point, it broke.
Right.
and there's no continuity between the beginning of the franchise and where they're at. And that's where it just becomes lazy, and the whole point of a franchise is you've got a connection. Flipping Nightmare on Elm Street did it perfectly. Apart from part two. Part two was a bit strange, but they used the house as a character in Elm Street. But they brought Nancy back for part three. They had the patients in the hospital, part three into part four. Then they had what's her face from part four crossover into part five. And then with part six, they just did it. So much time had passed that you were able to have different characters. But Freddy he'd done everything he could. He had actually no victims left because he completely cleaned out Springfield. But there was a thread the whole way through, not just relying on Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does, yeah. I feel
they'd
like
actually managed to do that with Nightmare on Elm Street. They managed to keep a link from each movie from the previous ones, so that the whole thing kept going, and you had that interconnectivity, not just Freddy Krueger, the Dream Demon turning up, and random folks. Halloween, they managed to do it quite well, although that's the weakest of the franchise. But using Laurie, having the detective, you know what I mean, they managed to keep a thread going, so it wasn't just Michael Myers, and that's why that franchise last. Friday the 13th was a bit more tricky. It, while people enjoyed that one more, it was the most disjointed of the franchises because they couldn't figure out what to do with Jason. Jason didn't become Jason really until the end of part three. Got into part four, so they hadn't really figured out the iconic character you see of Jason today with the hockey mask and stuff didn't happen until like the third movie.
Gotcha.
And the storyline behind him, you know, because Pamela Voorhees was the killer in the first one, his mother. So, you know, that franchise was the most disjointed, but they still managed somehow. I think using Crystal Lake as a character, like, used perfection with this one. You know, there's a thread, which kept going.
You know more about this than I do because I'm still a horror newbie, but I liken horror franchises to sports franchises in this way. Year to year, you're always going to lose a couple of players to free agency, trades, retirement, but the majority of your team goes from year to year to some continuity. If you go from one year to another and the entire team changes over, you know, the people would be more they would have more of an association with those players. So if the entire team moved to another place, they wouldn't stay with the local team. Most of them would actually want to follow those players because it would be
the team, you know. And you see, have you ever heard the analogy of the King's Sword? So it's been the King's Sword for 1,000 years,
right?
However, every year it gets a new handle. You know, I mean, it needs a leather replacement, so that's a new bit of leather. Every couple of years, it needs a new blade because the blade wears down, so it needs to get reshafted. So the blade goes on the hilt, and then every so often the hilt wears down, so it needs a new hilt. And 1,000 years, it's a completely different sword. You know, as in being used because it's been passed down, but bits get changed. It's like the janitor's broom is another analogy of the same thing. Every so often it gets a new brush head because it wears down.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's still the same janitor's broom. You know, eventually the handle snaps, gets a new handle, but it's on the previous brush. So it's still the janitor's broom.
Yeah.
Something passes. It's not the whole thing just changes. Bits of it change, but then it becomes part of it.
Right. And thankfully, this series has Burt as the continuity, but it would do.
It can't be that alone.
It can't be that alone. Exactly. Burt needs that interaction with the other characters that you care about. So hopefully, Travis will be the start of something. But I really didn't. You know, I wasn't attached to any of the other characters. Den Bravers was fun, but I have the impression that he was just a one-off in Africa. I don't see him following him to. You said Shrieker Island or wherever they go next, or Mars.
Part 7's Shrieker Island. That's just no, because it's
okay.
Advertised most. I can't remember what they call part 6.
Okay.
I'll look it up now. But Tremors. A Cold Day in Hell's Tremors 6.
Wow. So not Mars yet.
Not yet.
All right.
Oh, it does have Travis in the 6th one.
Oh, good. All right. So then I
just
feel
just
better.
the thing. I'm not spoiling it.
Yeah.
So they're bringing Travis back, but you need someone else from the town. You need the perfection link.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what's kept this franchise. That's what's made this franchise unique, because
Yeah.
it hasn't fallen into all the other tropes.
Right.
And I'm just worried now. This is the one that's got. Remember, I was worried about the prequel.
Yeah.
I remember I was genuinely concerned about. I don't know if I want to watch this. Is this going to like ruin it all? And we've still got 4 movies to go.
Yeah. And it turned out to be great. Yeah.
Yep. This is the one where I thought it was going to be either Mexico or Argentina again. So I wasn't worried the fact they said this is South Africa.
Yeah.
Because I thought they've already done that and they've done it well.
Yeah.
But oh boy, just characters, and time wasted on like fluff, which Tremors has never needed. Tremors has always been very tight for a horror comedy. It's actually had a really tight script. A lot of Hollywood directors could take note from the writers of this series.
Yeah, and it's a shame because they obviously had the production value. They had the cameras, everything looked great. So they had all the tools, but now all of a sudden they're missing things that have been with them all along. Like I was saying, like the comedy felt forced. There was that scene where Travis is in the tunnel and he starts making reference to Die Hard, where he gives that speech where come to South Africa, it'll be fun. He starts referencing the Die Hard speech. And then there's the part where
I just completely I knew what he was doing, but it did not make me chuckle.
No, it wasn't funny. It definitely fell flat.
Because he only knew Burt for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, the storytelling was just off.
Let's have a look at the Tremors 3. Who the hell was that character? Yeah, Desert Jack. Jack.
Okay.
So if Jack had been there being his cameraman.
Yeah.
And then Jack went with him, that speech would have made more sense.
Right. Yeah.
And then
things like that.
Jack could have done a phone call to Jodie back in Perfection because she's still running the store.
Yeah.
What the heck? Why not?
Yeah.
There was your connection, but obviously they didn't get the actor back. So Travis has only appeared 5 minutes. So you don't have that rapport and you don't have that connection.
Exactly.
So
that's the beauty of a long-running sequel, is that you want to, see those connections played out. You want that familiarity. Otherwise, it's just a different movie each time. And I don't think it's gotten there yet, but I'm with you. I definitely see some warning signs.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm already, too far in to stop now, but I could definitely see where, the next 2 may not be as enjoyable as the first 4 was.
And that would be such a shame. But then we can point this directly at them removing Stampede Entertainment.
Yeah.
If that's if it's those guys that have been the glue that has held us together, and Universal just being, because let's be honest, if this is successful, they were making money, but this is corporate. They can't help themselves.
Yeah.
They have to take over everything. They can't share. They can't, and this is why a lot of them just burn things to the ground. They'd rather do that than the thought of it carrying on without them being 100% in control. It's a weird culture, but without actually creating anything of worth, and it really bugs me.
Yeah, it's almost like the AI now, where you could take things and repurpose it, but you're not creating anything worthwhile.
Yeah, you're not. It's a tool, but you don't. If that's what you rely on 100% to create something, then creativity's dead.
Right. Yeah.
And it seems to be this. They follow the same. corporatization is so over this. You can see it. You can actually feel the veneer. They've shinied up some stuff, made it look better, but they've removed the important element, which is going to keep things. That's what keeps the longevity of things.
Yeah. It's a shame if they took this, the quality of the film, the CGI, and we just took those parts of it and repurposed that on, especially Tremors 2 and 3. Those would have looked so good.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, we got that part and we lost some of the great points that the previous movies had.
And we've lost the important part because this is what makes people. This is what makes people switch off.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we laughed at the CGI, but everything else around it made it worthwhile.
Right.
This, yeah, like that whole third act after they blew up the cave. Did any more of the movie need to happen?
Well, I disagree slightly. I actually kind of like the scene with where they electrocuted the graboid because I thought it was important for two reasons. I thought it had to pay off why Travis was doing the motorcycle stunts in the beginning. So I thought you needed, to use him as bait. I thought that was kind of cool, and it was, exciting the way the graboid was, jumped at him, and then just as he was turning around to come back, I thought that looked cool, and at least made sense why he was just doing motorcycle stunts for no reason. And then also when he jumps over Burt, and Burt goes, "That a boy, Sonny boy, way to go, Sonny boy," I think he says. So they were trying to create that connection where Burt was actually now, proud of his son and now is invested in that relationship, that he actually had some pride.
But then we had a whole movie to do that. In fact, I would argue that the Florida conversation should have happened at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, 100%. And it could have been about that relationship. Yeah.
And get rid of the love triangle.
Yes. I would sign off on that. Yeah.
Bye-bye love triangle, which didn't really lead anywhere.
Yeah.
Have that build up, and then you will got the payoff. But in terms of the movie, it was 5 minutes before he found out, so it didn't gel because that should have been a whole movie's payoff.
Yeah, yeah.
For that particular scene.
Yeah, that's fair. That would have been better. I'm glad at least that Travis is in the sixth one, so hopefully they could do the right thing and have it carry through a whole movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool because if it, well, we're going to see him now in the second one, so that's cool. Now we'll get the payoff because we've had a bit of time between this one and the next one, and the one coming out. To at least have that relationship established.
Exactly.
I don't know. They should have built up, I think. They could have incorporated the two scenes together, I think. Using the lightning to draw Queen Bitch from the cave and then blow it up. It just seemed like they went in an entirely different scene. To me, this maybe should have had that a bit tighter, because one thing that's been great about this franchise of art is that like no time was wasted.
Yeah.
And I think them doing it up to the final scene was just filler. It really did feel like filler to get there. I
do feel the runtime on this was about 20 to 30 minutes longer than it needed to be.
And I didn't check how much it actually is, but if you felt that third act.
Yeah, I definitely, I haven't felt that way about any of the Tremors movies. They've always felt like they went very quickly. There was no waste of time. And at the end of the movie, I was like, man, that was quick. Because I enjoyed it so much. This one felt like it could have been a lot shorter and been, just as good, if not better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's just down to, that's down to storytelling for all. Obviously, you can sit and call them up. They could be exactly the same time.
Yeah.
For all I know. And it just happens that because of the way that the drew out the story of the third act just made it drag.
Right.
Shame, but all in all, I know I'm sort of ragging on it a bit, but it was a decent entry in the franchise. Didn't hate it. Like, I did enjoy myself watching it.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that, the action scenes were good. It was, fast paced, aside from a few parts that dragged on. I thought the horror elements were actually good. Like it was terrifying. You know, some of the creatures and some of the death scenes and stuff like that. The guy, the mechanic, who like came at the guy with the machete.
He was used as bait. Oh god, we never talked. That's the first time of a graboid actually using someone as bait and not
Yeah,
killing them straight away, and not just they're actually golden.
that was a cool scene on
True
the
enough, I didn't
bridge.
even talk about that. That was
Yeah,
uh yeah, that was horrifying. That was a proper, that's proper horror movie territory.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like I thought it was effective, like that. I just thought they lost the heart and they lost the comedy, but the horror elements were all there. You know, the fast pace. You know, Burt is still awesome in every scene he's in.
Mhm.
The cage scene was very odd.
Yeah, I think that's. I think we both felt that. It was just like, oh no, we didn't need that.
Yeah, but the rest of the movie he was great in. I thought there was a fun little thing. I recognized the name of the gun, the HK-91, and he was so excited about it. So I looked it up, and I guess Travis makes a deal with Burt about the HK-91, and then this name sounded familiar. In Tremors 2, Aftershocks, Burt explains his divorce and said that he had to send his ex-wife Heather an HK-91. So I think that's why he was so excited that to get that gun in particular. So little things like that they needed a lot more of, but there's still enough enough breadcrumbs to keep me going and want to continue.
Yeah, they haven't departed completely, but
Yeah,
we're starting to see the departure happen,
yeah, yeah,
and I hope they put it back for the next two because it's going to be hard reviews otherwise.
yeah,
There's nothing worse, mate, than reviewing a movie. Right, you can review a bad movie and laugh at it,
yeah,
but there's nothing worse than reviewing a movie you haven't enjoyed and feel like dead about. It's flipping. You've seen my streams. It's the most soul destroying thing on the planet. You've committed to watch a movie, and you watch it, and it's like, oh god, why? And
yeah.
then you have to talk about it afterwards, and you're like, I don't want to do this. I
I've
want
been
to
I've been lucky because you've been giving me fun ones to review with you, so I haven't had to deal with that yet. Like Killer
uh,
Clowns was awesome.
oh, Cameron's pissed off at me about that.
I saw.
He
Yeah.
threw a fit. I'm like, it's not like I'm doing it in secret. Fucking hell, dude.
We could always do Killer Clowns Revisited.
He wants a sequel, and I don't.
No, but I mean we could just revisit the first movie again.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
we'll
I saw.
do a wrap up from
He
friggin'
said the two movies he should be involved in were Killer Clowns and Two Towers. So
yeah,
he
Lord of
was
the Rings. Just
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
but it's not like we weren't heading. You know what I mean? We started right from the start with Peter Jackson's movies. We were going to get there. It was no
Yeah,
secret,
yeah, for
so
sure.
not my fault.
Yeah.
Bad
That's
one.
a good thing that people, you'd rather have that problem where too many people want to review stuff than not.
Yeah, and a message from someone else about because we're doing Hellraiser. Is that for? It's like nope. Adam Cameron and I have been covering Clive Barker's series from the very beginning. This is where we're, it's not for not wanting people on board, but this particular series we've covered. That's
Yeah,
what I'm doing. It's like somebody wanting to jump on with Tremors. It's like, no, this is a personalized segment. We agreed this at the start.
yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of, there's
Chat
plenty
is
of,
for people could jump on the chat and
yeah,
comment.
that's
Yeah,
live chat is there all the time.
yeah,
Just jump on and you can be
yeah,
part of the conversation.
yeah. I'm gonna be annoying as hell with the two towers because I love that movie. So I'm
Oh,
gonna
it's,
be feel free to ignore me.
oh,
But
shit. We'll have to put it back a couple of weeks because that wasn't filmed. That means I have to watch it again. Oh no!
oh, that's awesome.
Oh, damn! I have to watch it again. Oh, I went through. I spent a whole day in the special features disc, and I'm like,
It's so good.
a lot of them are dopey featurettes, but it's when you get it's the Christopher Lee interviews and the Peter Jackson interviews are the best.
Yeah, I can imagine. I haven't seen some of them. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I've seen the extended version, but I don't know if I've seen all the featurettes. Yeah.
See, that's why that's one thing streaming will never surpass over physical media. When you buy the DVD or Blu-ray, that was why you got them because all special features. Like if you really love a franchise, you want to find out how the thing was made.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's one thing. you don't really get it with other franchises, but horror movies, it's all about how the movies were made, because horror movies are special effects derived, and I always equate the horror special effects people as mad scientists in the lab. You you go to any horror movie, any franchise, and you get the interview with the special effects team, and they're all maniacs.
I believe it.
No, but
Yeah.
I mean, proper good way. Just love. They want to make the best recipe for blood. They want to make the best recipe for gore. They want it to look certain way, and the actors, get covered in all that stuff. And sometimes they have to stop because it burns their skin or it's pulling their hair off.
Jeez.
What do you call her? Dana out of familiar with Evil Dead?
Uh-huh.
The Ash versus Evil Dead TV series?
I watched some of them, but not enough.
Right. So you know the one that plays Kelly? Dana, the one that plays Kelly?
Okay.
Right. Showing her offset, with all that stuff in her hair, that yeah, it's all right, it looks all right now. Wait till it starts drying.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, you'd never get a more dedicated special effects team than horror movies. It just lends that sort of person.
Yeah. Maybe that's part of what was missing with this one too, because I watched the behind the scenes of Tremors 4, and the craft they took to make the physical, graboids. I mean, it was layers after layers of thought put into how are we going to get a person to fit in this, and we're going to have all these like winches and different mechanical devices and stuff like that. And then this one looked great, but it was like all CGI. And I don't know if maybe that contributed to that lack of heart that I felt.
Yeah, because you need that's what people are learning now. That's why a lot of the good actors are come back, or sorry, a lot of the good directors are come back to practical, because they know CGI dates very quickly and it looks fake and it takes you out of it. And you need that practical effect, and the CGI is just like the lure over the top. That's where you remove the wires, you tidy it up a bit, things that you can't necessarily build. And the two can work in harmony.
Right.
But it's once again, it's horror doing it first.
Yeah.
Everyone else is still the twig on. It's just they'll twig on eventually, when horror's already like 10 years ahead. It's always been that way, and yet other franchises thumb their nose down horror movies. It's so funny. But we're here to
making money too. The last few years. Yeah.
I'm looking. We were talking about Nosferatu, like Robert Eggers. If anyone's going to do that justice, it's going to be him. For The Witch, he had the cast out. Like, the cast came out and helped the crew pick the buds up the trees, because it was filmed in spring and they wanted it to be winter.
Oh wow!
So they all went out, cast and crew and him. They all went out and picked the buds off the trees for the particular scene. I mean, that's the level of CGI. Doesn't even how do you equate that into CGI? You can't.
Yeah.
Everyone just goes and walks a line. Okay, we need to go and pick flowers, and that's just for the scene to be able to look authentic.
Yeah.
And Peter Jackson's planting crops a year before in Hobbiton. That's horror direct. That's a horror director's mentality.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't get that from other franchises. And any decent director has come from a horror background. It's just the way of things.
Yeah. For sure.
But on this, I hope this isn't the sign of things falling apart. Really hope to pull it back and the rekindle the magic, because it's starting to get lost a bit.
Yeah.
And it didn't have to be.
What would you like to see in the next one? Like, aside from just better storytelling, like
just right. So I want to see Burt and Travis. I don't want them having daddy issues and son issues. I want them a team.
Yeah.
So between this movie and that, they've worked it out. They've actually come together, and they're working in tandem.
Yeah.
And they're complementing each other. That's what I want to see. I'd like to see at least a reference to perfection, as in other characters come in.
Right.
If not directly part of it. So wherever this is taking place, I want to see some sort of link back to perfection,
I'm with you.
and I want characters. You know what I mean? That whole
Believable.
idea of coming together through adversity. That's
Yeah.
what makes this franchise strong.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think those are great points. I hope to see some of that in the next one. I also like, learning about, the graboids. I like, I like the little changes they make. This one, I think the only really change they made, aside from the fact that they were faster and bigger, is that they detached. I think they called them free range
Oh Jesus, I
graboids.
did not like that. I forgot about that.
And
Didn't like that.
I mean, it doesn't biologically make sense, but they always seem to try to do something different. So at least it
Well,
was
it made them look slightly different.
it
They had
did.
this because of the
It
earth they're
was
in. They had the
scared
slight
them.
red tinge to them,
Yeah.
etc. So that was enough. Oh God, I'd actually forgot about that.
Oh, sorry, I brought it up. Whoops.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Yeah, but I do like when they try to keep changing them and make them a bigger threat.
But
I
then
think
they don't need to unless they're going to be like different monsters. It's like a Godzilla movie. Godzilla's always going to be Godzilla.
yeah,
You don't need to change Godzilla.
yeah, that's fair.
You just change the scenario. Um, Once again, this is where they're, yeah. God, I'd actually forgotten about that. Yeah, the detachable.
Free
Uh,
range
yeah,
graboids, they call them. I love the names they come up with these things.
yeah,
I
it's fun name, but it just the idea that they're just going to get ridiculous then, and they're going to stop being graboids.
Yeah, I think to me the best aspect of all the different creatures, the shriekers, the ass blasters, the free range graboids, I think the best aspect was that it was under the ground and you can't see it and they're intelligent. So if
Mhm.
they stick to the intelligent factor and the fact that it's underground, it could come up at any moment and get you. I like those aspects of it. I thought that is what kind of made it different. When they're
Yeah,
just
and you just
flying,
put it in a different location and different scenario, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's
yeah. So if they want to ramp it up where they're getting even smarter in the next one, I think that could be cool. But yeah, just to put like an exploding ass on the next one or whatever they come up with, they have extra wings. I mean, you're right. I think it could definitely get out of hand. But if they focus on the intelligence, I think that could make for a really cool movie where they're learning about us now and you know they're
yeah, they're starting to twig on. Obviously they've hit the modern world and they're
yeah,
compensating for it. But once again, it wasn't what you know. What I mean, the graboids are just a plot device.
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
characters and how the characters deal with us. That's what made the whole thing engaging.
right,
When you have to just rely on the monster's just a tool.
yeah, that's
It's
true.
how the characters react and how they deal with the situation and how they overcome that
Yeah,
makes you invested in the movie. The creature's just a tool to make
yeah,
that happen. And that's once you lose that, once you forget that basic fact, which I'm worried this is the beginning of them starting to do here.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully the next one they can get back
Hopefully,
to.
hopefully I'll be wrong, because
Yeah,
hopefully this is just a glitch.
yeah,
Because you can't have as many movies in a franchise and not be something. And plus the change. That's why it was important to mention the change in the background because that explains the whole tonal difference.
oh, it's jarring. Yeah, yeah.
But onwards, upwards. So we'll be doing Tremors 6, A Cold Day in Hell next.
I'm excited to see what happens. Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be fun times, and we'll just see where it goes. And this series could end very abruptly. We could be 5 minutes into and go, no more, can't do it. Done.
there's still Mars. They could always go to Mars. That's what I want to see.
Tremors in space. All right, Chris, once again, always a pleasure to have you, man. Great to be on board.
Appreciate it.
And as always, folks, keep up to date with the channel, do the type of clicky things. And until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.